and gentlemen, welcome to the Women's Sports Club NewFront. We are going to get started, and this is going to kick off in a little bit of a different way than your usual NewFront. So with that, I'm going to kick it to my boy Thorb to introduce you to why we are all here. So hit it, Thorb.
This is a whole lot, y'all know that, right? Anyway, now we came here for Sports Innovation Lab, living where the data at. Don't miss the opportunity, just open up and pay the bag. You think that after Caitlin, all these women fading back? Well, welcome to the NewFront. Now let me lay the track. Look at all these partners. I made a set change. I ran here. Old girl was playing X Games. Changed the scripts on them. I'm nearly caught up with the flow, so it's 5 in a row. I'm from the tips on them. People coming around now, but women been there. Oh, look, another partner here to make an impact. We need to rethink and kick it like we re-ink. And I ain't want to do it, but I'm here to spill the tea. Think, I'm just a rapper that be hitting the list. But this is really something bigger if you getting the gist. Seen your wallets from the crowd, that's impeccable wit. Now I don't got it like y'all, so I be pleading the fifth. And they like he leading you to put some dollars in the she media. But that be better than learning about women all on Wikipedia, ain't it? Here's the picture I painted. If we play fly. This the final arraignment. But I ain't really here to judge, only here to give a nudge. So they buy us a hang, it's really all of the above. I'm the plug for the movement. We redefine the sport. Ain't no need to watch it from the sidelines. We got Bleacher Report. Been Olympic with the flow, and they known. And to really be specific, I could flip it like Simone up in Paris, like we the trailblazer. Feel me, them really had a lasso on a game where the key lead. You better know the name, how they really paved the lane. Lil Salt, Lil Pepper, yeah, Lil Sarah Spain in the building. Doing things bigger, you should probably tell your children. Fighting all them sturges, to fighting all the merges that matter. Climbing up the ladder, Osaka with it if they make a racket, duck the chatter. Like we ain't never stopping till them old ways shatter. Like okay, Flawless and Flaw J was next on the platter. Turning on the TV, don't need to change the channel when it's USA Today or sit in TP. A Hall of Fame mind, I could do this a day. The point's so sharp, need a seat on Club Shay Shay. Came together with production, word to Hanakuma. It's unlimited, these athletes will spread the rumor. Down with OTP, it's never later, it's sooner. Times really be changing, now don't you act like a boomer. We got Women's Sports Network, the experts. Coming for your pockets, only want a little net worth. That's it, just the tradable bits. Then we'll take it and dip, or maybe surf. That's another one you get, come on. This is how you give them flowers. No, not the rose, take the game and empower. Before we had it just women's sports, this was just women's sports. So this really ain't a parody, the ball is in your court now. Like we playing at the Rucker, no Darius. Never need no glass slipper, Cinderella chariot. We only need our T, it's the athletic kid to carry it. To take a broken narrative and go ahead and bury it in store. Come on. Now part of me is to awkwardly salute the crowd in a virtual manner. But we really appreciate everybody here today. We would also appreciate if you took out your wallets and went crazy with them. Absolutely nuts with it. Thank you so much for listening. You can give me money as well afterwards, just the remains. I'll take the scraps. I'll see you later, thank you.
Woo! Please welcome to the stage Sports Innovation Lab co-founder and CEO, Josh Walker.
Where are you, Thorb? Where are you, Thorb? Woo! Hey, great job, man. Thank you for that. You made my job a lot easier. Now I don't have to remember all those people or those names. Listen, my co-founder and I, Angela Ruggiero, every time we start a meeting like this, we like to go around the room and ask everybody what their favorite sports memory is. Super easy question, but you learn a ton about people. And why is that? Because you all know, we all know that sports is ingrained in our lives and in our society and very much part of our identity. At Sports Innovation Lab, I don't need to convince you about the power of sport. But what we've done is we've taken that fan journey. We've tried to understand what customers do when they really love playing, watching, participating in different sports. And we measure what they buy. Not what they click on, not what they search on, but what they buy. And we combine the passion of that fan journey with data. And we've created the Sports Data Cloud. You're all here today because we've created an incredible platform for you to take advantage of as media buyers, as media planners, as brands, to understand fans in a new way, to reach them authentically in the environments that they care most about and where they spend the most money. And the power of the Sports Cloud is that we can actually apply it to things that are very important to us at the Sports Innovation Lab, like women's sports. It's just one way that when you understand who your consumer is, you can actually get them to move, to engage. And today is all about that. So I want to thank you guys for all coming. I want to thank my co-founder, Angela Ruggiero, for having the vision to build this entire industry. She was the one who said, stop talking, get off your butts, understand the business of women's sports, stop talking about it as a charity case, and the results are clear. We also have our partners and what they've done in terms of bringing together media. Trailblazing Sports has given you scale and performance here, and you're going to hear a lot about that today. So thank you, Sarah, for that. And then finally, the woman who gets the most credit for this, who had this vision 3 years ago when everybody told her she was crazy, nobody would get together and look at and purchase and buy women's sports media, is my CMO and really good friend, Gina Waldhorn.
I don't need that. I got man. Thank you. No, nope, I'm good. All right, well, let me say first, I'm very honored to share the stage with the other elite athletes like me. This is at my peak. MVP, point guard of the Boca Middle Cobras, so happy to have the other athletes on stage with me here today. And I'm here to kind of set the stage for you. And I'm here to tell you that this is not your typical NewFront, because we are not a media agency. We're not a media company. We at Sports Innovation Lab are a fan intelligence company. And we've spent the last 7 years working with the biggest sports leagues and teams and brands and sponsors, helping them understand the future fan, looking at what the fan does, how they behave, how they choose to engage and consume sports media and entertainment. And we've done that through data. We need data to help us understand what they're streaming and buying and betting and creating. And we're so obsessed with this future fan, we actually coined a name for it. We call them the future fan. We call this future fan the fluid fan. They are open to change. They are continuously evolving. They are the path to growth for the entire sports industry. And here's the thing, we are not a women's sports company. We focus on the entire sports industry. But because we use data, we recognize a seriously undervalued asset when we see one. Which is why since 2021, we got dead serious about bringing our data and building community to specifically women's sports to unlock the business value of women's sports. We started in 2021 by releasing the Fan Project, a data-driven piece of research that looked at the value of the women's sports fan as compared to other fans. We continued to produce that research, and then we started to build executive communities around that research, which has evolved today into the Women's Sports Club, which first was powered by our awesome partners at Ally. And today we are so excited to have some incredible partners powering the Women's Sports Club, from Ally to Allstate, EA Sports, Google, Morgan Stanley Sports and Entertainment, Scripps Sports, Trailblazing, Verizon is in the house. I saw Verizon. What's up, Christine? And we have built a tremendous community. In fact, the only community of its kind that is obsessed with translating data into deal making. That's what we're all about at the Women's Sports Club. We could not have imagined how big it would come, but you know what? It feels pretty good to be right, because it turns out that the momentum that we've been talking about, the rest of the industry has finally started to catch up, which is awesome, and it's not stopping. And a lot of people say, oh, women's sports is having a moment. Women's sports is having a moment. This is not a moment. This is just another peak, and they keep coming, and they keep coming, and they keep coming, and they're not slowing down. And we get this, and I say we, I used to be a media buyer, I'm Kara, and I'm alumni. We get it because we all showed up today because we recognize that women's sports is the most valuable media in the world. Because women's sports, it's the last live appointment viewing out there. It has more passion than any other vertical, and women's sports fans have been proven to be 3 times as loyal to the brands who show up in the sports that they love. So we all get that. That's why you guys came. You all showed up. You all RSVP'd. But now you showed up. It's time to step up. And what do I mean by that? You heard Thorb. He said, open your wallets. We are here to buy more women's sports. So we are very focused today on what we want to achieve. But we get it, right? It hasn't been easy enough to buy women's sports media. And that's what this NewFront is all about. I am here to tell you how we are addressing the two biggest challenges for brands and agencies to buy women's sports media. And those are scale and performance. And I'm going to tell you how we're solving each one of those starting today at today's NewFront. The first one is scale. So let's talk about scale. We talked about moments, right? Women's sports keeps breaking records. It's going to keep shattering ceiling. It's going to have these amazing culture-defining moments that absolutely, everyone gathers around. And these are important, and we want brands to keep sponsoring these tentpole moments. But the fans want more. They want storytelling. They want the athlete perspective. They want it all the time. We've got to get always on. They want the back office. They want the front office. They want it all. And brands need to hold on to that connection with their consumers in between those big moments. So for the first time today, we have curated a group of packages and content and partners that keep advertisers always on in women's sports. And that's going to help us with the scale. The second thing is we love the WNBA. We are here for the NWSL. They are riding the wave. But there's other sports too. And especially Gen Z, Gen Alpha, they are leaning in. Volleyball, fastest growing sport in America. They want the surf. They want the skate. They want the pickleball. They want it all. So you need, as a buyer, to be able to go cross-sport. And it's got to be easier. You can't have to go to a million different properties. So today, we have curated a set of partners and packages that get you across all different sports in one easy way to buy. And finally, I talked about that fluid fan. And that fluid fan is streaming, they're TikToking, they're listening to podcasts, they are all over the place. And so your media needs to be all over the place. So once again, we made sure that the packages and the partners we pulled together created content and programming that hits this fluid fan across all the channels that they need to be found and consume. So this has got the distribution that you need to hit the scale that you need. And how have we done that? Together with our partners at Trailblazing Sports Group, we are here to announce at this NewFront the formation of the Trailblazing Marketplace with these pioneer partners. We got a ton of them all in the room today. These are the folks who have put together incredible packages that you can buy in a one-stop shop on the Trailblazing Marketplace across all of those always-on content streams, across all of those different sports and on all of those different media channels, streaming channels, digital channels, audio channels that we know the fluid fan is spending their time on. That is all here for you today. So I don't want to hear we don't have the scale, because we brought the scale even to the long tail, and it's in the marketplace. So let's talk about the second issue. Congrats, you reached them all, yay! But it needs to perform. Your advertisers want to see it perform. So let's address performance. How are we going to make it perform? Well, I'm thrilled to announce today we have Sports Innovation Lab audiences here to address the performance and improve that ROI. Sports Innovation Lab audiences are the most sophisticated, accurate, scaled, addressable audiences that have been designed specifically for sports and entertainment. They're the only ones in the world who have been built based on, as Josh said, what fans actually buy. And this is really important because until today, this kind of data, it's actually been missing from the entire sports industry. Other sections have it. It's kind of sports has fallen behind. They haven't really needed the data. They need it now. And you know what? If we're going to bring it anywhere, we're going to bring it to women's sports first. Why? Because for too long, women's sports has been being sold based on pulling on your heartstrings, because it's the right thing to do, really pulling on those heartstrings. We want to pull on the purse strings, okay? We need to deliver ROAS and ROI, because this data is going to help you stop doing a few things that women's sports has been guilty of in the media environment, because it's all you've had, right? We got to stop targeting only women. The data shows that almost 50% of women's sports fans are men.
We need to stop relying on cookies. They will go away eventually, but even without that, 70% of shoppers who you think bought a thing actually abandoned that thing in their cart, and they're not even those people who bought that thing, so we don't want to rely on cookies. And finally, stop settling for surveys and self-reported data and contextual. All that's important. We need all of that, but we need more, because 60% of self-reported data ends up getting miscategorized into the wrong audiences. And if you have better data, advertisers see 60% better accuracy in reaching the audience that they want to reach. So let me show you exactly how that comes to life, right? Here's how you're buying today. This is the soccer fan. I'm gonna go target a soccer fan. Well, how do we know they're a soccer fan? We got some viewership. They watch some Game On. They follow Tobin Heath. This is a soccer fan. She's probably around this age. Awesome. This is how Sports Innovation Lab sees a soccer fan. With all of the data we have, I am able to see what league she follows. What teams does she love? Does she bet? How much? With which platform? How often? Where does she stream? And even outside of sports, I'm able to see, is she a Starbucks girl or is she Dunkin'? Is she Skims or is she more like Savage Fenty kind of gal? And we can see all of this information about these fans because we know that transactions, every transaction of over 80 million US consumers. And that's awesome, that's dope, that's useful, but where it really gets interesting is we also can see thousands of sports-specific purchases. And it's taken us 7 years to build this type of data cloud because there are a lot of merchants out there. We need every team, every league, every venue. Sure, you have Fanatics, but do you have Playa Society and Breaking Tea? You need to have all of the scale on all the different sports merchants to really be able to paint a picture of who that sports fan is. And once you have that data, we can combine it with the other attributes, behaviors, email addresses, all the stuff you need to enrich your own data or build some really powerful audiences that are gonna reach the right person. Because it's easy to get the wrong person. So let's say you're Skims, okay, and you're trying to reach me. You're gonna look at my media profile, you're gonna look at my cookies, and you're gonna say, I'm buying a basketball fan, I wanna reach Gina. Awesome, she watched some Final Four, she follows Caitlin Clark, she streamed the draft clips from YouTube TV, I'm definitely hitting Gina with my ad. But if you actually took that same media profile and you layered on the purchases of that individual, you'd find that they spent a whole lot of money at Home Depot, and they have a subscription to AARP, and that's not me, that's my dad. So we have to say, Skims, listen, don't waste money on my dad. He's not buying Skims. We can all do better. And so we've created these data-driven audiences, and today, at today's NewFront, we are launching the Trailblazing Marketplace with this Trailblazing Sports Group with performance powered by Sports Innovation Lab data and audiences. So what does this look like when you actually make a buy? All right, I'm gonna go to the marketplace. I'm interested in Athletes Unlimited, and the GIST put together a fantastic package around softball and volleyball. Awesome, it's exploding right now. Well, with Sports Innovation Lab audiences, we can see individuals who are buying volleyball gear, volleyball merch, Team USA volleyball. And we know that's an additional 12 million volleyball fans, which translates into 50 million impressions. That's your scale, and it's the data you need to drive performance in women's sports. Olympics, right around the corner. There's still time. Everyone who wants to get in, lots of amazing, it's the first 50-50 Olympics, equal women to male athletes. You gotta be there. We have awesome Olympic packages and stories from Hanakuma, from The Athletic. We layer in Sports Innovation Lab audiences. We're able to find more than 30 million individuals who have made purchases who indicate they're into international sports. They're buying Olympic gears. They're buying from Olympic athletes on their shops. And that expands that program by over 1 billion impressions. It's gonna give you the scale. It's gonna help you get cross-sport. You're not gonna reach my dad. And you're gonna drive the scale and performance that thus has been missing from women's sports, but why we came here today, why we decided now is the time to host this NewFront and launch the Trailblazing Marketplace powered by Sports Innovation Lab audiences. So that's what we're here for. And over the next 60 minutes, we're all going to get a bit driven. We're going to get amped up. And I'm not just going to stand up here and tell you about the packages. We're going to have some amazing thought leadership and some surprises. And we're going to bring them on stage to tell you about the value, the stories, the athlete perspective. We're going to do it across 3 pillars. We're going to get athlete driven, and we're going to hear and see some of the NIL opportunities, how you can use athletes to build your brand. And these are some of the partners in the marketplace who have specific athlete-driven packages for you. We're all gonna get a little cultured. We're gonna hear storytelling. We're gonna get emotional. We're gonna talk about those moments that define all of culture, not just women's sports. And then we're gonna get local. Love and loyalty at the local level. We're going to talk about grassroots and community programs, again, of which we have partners in the marketplace who have specific programs that address community. And it's not just going to be me. We have some amazing talent here to help guide us on that journey. So with that, I am very excited to bring up our first moderator, the incredible Sarah Spain, 3-time, well, probably more than that, but Emmy, Peabody award-winning journalist, and now host and co-creator of the new iHeartMedia Always On women's sports content. Sarah, we are so thrilled to have you.
Thank you. Only 2-time Emmy winner, but I appreciate you manifesting that 3rd. We'll get that going. Hey everybody, so excited to be here. First of all, I would buy literally anything you're selling. Your dad even, I would buy him. He looks cute. I'm wearing my Barbie pink to remind everybody last summer what it was when we not only had content about women, but by women. And what that meant, it meant money, basically. Barbie, Taylor, Beyonce, men, women, boys, and girls. We were just throwing our money at them all summer long. So I thought I'd just give us a reminder of what it looks like when we actually have the content by and for women, about women, and about the female experience. So we're gonna have some amazing women come up here and talk about that experience and how you can use it to make your brands more money. So let's bring them on up. Come on, ladies. I want them to introduce themselves because they're going to sell themselves better than anybody because we've seen how they've already done it. Santia, tell everyone a little bit about yourself, but also we only have 17 minutes and 46 seconds, so just a little.
Okay, so my name is Santia Deck. I made history twice by being offered the largest contract in women's football, and the second time by becoming the first female athlete to own a shoe company, Tronos, and I have close to 3 million followers on social media.
Mallory.
Oh man, I gotta follow that up. My name is Mallory, and I race.
What's your last name, Mallory?
Dobbs.
Great, super.
Mallory Dobbs, and I race motorcycles, so I do road racing. So I am the first American to race in the new inaugural season of the Women's World Championship. The only one from the United States, racing for Sekhmet Racing, and like I said, I'll be going to Europe and racing in the World Championship.
And now in your profile, you can add that Tobin Heath said so effing cool about
so
you.
Cool.
Angela, we all know you here, but tell us all about yourself.
Former athlete. I was a 4-time Olympian in ice hockey, gold medal, 2 silver and a bronze. 4th woman in the Hockey Hall of Fame. Thank you very much. So that's what I did before Sports Innovation Lab started this company with Josh, as you heard before, really to bring more data to the market and change the game for women's sports. So it's like to be here.
I believe our soccer girlies told us that bronze is actually rose gold.
My bronze medal looks like a gold medal.
Yeah, nobody
so
needs
people
to
that don't know.
know
I'm like,
specifics.
yeah, my other gold medal, right?
Yeah, exactly. How many people in this room have read the Fan Project? Okay, that is not enough. That is the first thing you should do when you leave here, because honestly, that is the game changer for this entire enterprise, is the data that we now have. The Fan Project by Sports Innovation Lab gives you the information that you need to spend the money you're about to. I'll just tell you quickly, fans of women's sports spend more money. They're more loyal to the brands that they spend on. They have better brand affinity to the brands that work with women's sports, which leads to immediate engagement and spend. There's data behind all of that. This is not a charity. This is not a, hey, we love women's sports, give us your money. Go to the Fan Project and realize how much farther your money is going to go. No one's like, oh my God, Budweiser, I can't believe they supported the NFL. That's so nice. I'm going to drink Budweiser now. But guess what? I immediately started drinking certain beers when they supported the NWSL. Changed my habits immediately. Okay, so think about that as you're listening to these incredible women. And I want to start with you. You said 3 million followers. First of all, afterwards, we're going to talk about how I can increase my follower count and engagement.
Same, yeah.
But what's some of the content that you most like to post, and what gets the most engagement?
So I actually document my journey. So most of my followers have been following me since I was in college, and I graduated in 2014, went in at 2010. So they've gotten to see me grow up, but also I've been able to document my athletic journey. I played rugby. I'm now, healing from ACL surgery. I'm going through other personal things that everybody knows. And so they're very loyal, and they love the fact that I'm open. So I have an audience that will follow me anywhere, which I think is pretty phenomenal.
And it's especially important in a sport like women's football that is not as big, it's not as covered, it's harder to find, that you have these millions of followers that have decided they want to follow you personally, and then that opens up the door to the sports you play and the things you're interested in. How did you build that, and how did you do that without the awareness that so many other athletes have of, being on ESPN every day?
Well, I built my following through honestly documenting my journey when I first started running track in college. And everybody wanted to, thank you.
Wait, what event?
100, 200, 4x1.
Sweet, okay.
Everybody.
Athlete over here.
Sorry. I'm just playing. But no, everybody wanted to know, what are you doing? What are you eating? What are you wearing? How are you getting in shape? How do you have abs? Things like that. And so when I started documenting that, I went from 0 followers to 50,000 followers in less than 2 years, just because everybody wanted to be a part of what I was doing as an athlete. So I think with that being said, the fact that I was able to, again, be very transparent, which I think is a big thing on social media, and that also just, to me, that drives a lot of everything. Engagement, shares, likes, getting brands more visibility, because they can now connect with me on a personal level. Fans can sniff out really quickly if it's fake. And my fans know, Santia, that's not you. We're not liking this picture. We're not liking this video. But if they like and they know that I actually resonate with what I'm promoting, they love it. So that's what I've learned as a creator, is like, be honest, be transparent, and be real. That goes a long way.
Feels like female athletes in general tend to be a lot more authentic and transparent than male athletes online, which is why they connect with their fans. Also, I forgot to mention, your nickname is the Queen of Abs. So if we go to your Instagram, I guess that's how we find out how you got the abs, and then we will get them as well.
Oh, you'll find everything there.
Okay, great. Mallory, let's talk about that, because there is research that shows that female athletes connect more with their fans and drive more spend as a result. When they say, buy this shirt, or here's my merch, immediate spend, versus trying to parse when you're looking at some of the biggest men's stars, like, is this an ad? Do they actually do this? So for you, another sport that's not on ESPN every day, how have you created a following, and what kind of content do you think people react to the most on your profiles?
For sure. Yeah, I thought you were going to ask me if I have abs, and I was going to be like, I
bet you do.
I'm still working on them. I'll get some secrets. Yeah, I mean, motorsports, motorcycles in general, road racing is what I do, right? So 60 miles an hour to like 180 miles an hour. I'm dragging my knee on the ground, elbow, those things. And whenever I say I race motorcycles, it's, you use supercross, because that's like, or motocross, like dirt racing and stuff like that is really popular. And road racing is just as big in the country. I mean, we have national level racing here in the States called Moto America. A lot of people don't even know about it. And so being a female in this sport is really cool, because I get to talk about a lot more genuine things. So like we were just talking about, like being a genuine person and talking about it. And similar to Santia, like everybody loves when I share all of the things that happen along the way. So like I've built a fan base based on being just me and talking to people about everything and just being an open book, right? Like I tell everybody I meet, any female in the sport or anybody who wants to get into it or race motorcycles, like I tell them, like, just shoot me a message, I'll shoot you a message back, because that is what really gets people involved and really interested. So I share all the hardships along the way. And so it's not, because I think with social media, we get so caught up in the fact that we share all of our successes. You know, we see all the like, oh, these are all the good things. And then it kind of discourages people in the background that say, well, I just see so-and-so's having all this success and I had a failure and now I'm not going to do it anymore, because no one ever experiences failure. And I kind of take the opposite side of that, where I share everything, all of the genuine things that happen. Like, hey, I went to this thing and nothing happened, or like, hey, I crashed and this happened, or, I didn't have the results I wanted to today, and that's okay. Those are the things that get a lot of engagement, is when I'm a human, like I'm a person, I'm just like everybody else. Like I literally have a day job. I'm a civil engineer. And so like,
No biggie.
I enjoy racing motorcycles more than being an engineer, but and that, I still have a day job, because in motorsports, as much as I want it to be I'm a professional athlete. Like that is in my title now, which is crazy to me because I didn't get started in motorsports until way later in life. But I say that, and I still have to have a day job, because it is impossible for me to say I'm a professional athlete racing at the highest level and getting paid enough to just quit my job. And so could I be a better athlete? 100%, if I was just doing athlete stuff. But I share all of the things along the way in my life, because that is part of me, right? So I was in SoCal as of like a day ago. I drove 16 hours from SoCal to Seattle, and then I flew from Seattle to here and got here at midnight. So like, yeah,
but like that's a huge part of it, is relatability.
Yeah.
For female athletes, we are not so Oh, that's so sad. I'm so old. They are not so far away from the people who are fans of them. And a lot of male athletes feel like millions of dollars and penthouses away. And also, there are some really great, smart, multifaceted male athletes, but a lot of them instead, from the age of 10, have been enabled and empowered to just be athletes. And so many women in the space are civil engineers. Maybe not so many, but so many got an education, cultivated so many other aspects of their life and personality. They're better partners and brand sponsors because they understand the business as much as they do the sport, because they've had to. Angela, we talked about this when you came on my pod. Like, the best female athletes have to be the best at their sport and sell tickets and be a role model and be the best person with fans. Like, for you, you're coming out of this time where like you didn't get nearly as much pub for being a 4-time Olympian as the women who are doing it now. And that inspired you to create this data and this space where we can monetize by using the facts. So you've done all the research for all of this. As both an athlete and now a Sports Innovation Lab founder, what do you want them to know about like the content that they're buying into?
Yeah, I think it's been discussed here. I think women's sports is the secret weapon for the next phase of growth in the sports industry. And we're seeing bits of that now. Oh, look at the Caitlin Clark effect. Oh, look at... No, this has been a groundswelling. There's been pent-up demand that we've shown with our data. There just hasn't been, I think, the buyers in the market, which is why we're here today. But what these two athletes just talked about, you guys are amazing because you're doing what fans actually want. These fluid fans want to connect to authentically, and that authenticity of the female market. One, we're scrappier. If you work with a league, they're scrappier than a men's league that's like, nope, this is how we do it. So there's a little bit of that like startup mentality, I think, in the women's ecosystem, flexibility, nimbleness that goes with the athletes themselves. But I go back to this authenticity. Women connect to the consumer, to the fan, just better. And part of it is they're incentivized too. Again, you're not making the millions of dollars. Mm-hmm. So the male athlete's like, eyeing the prize, I got to win my championship. That's where I make my bread and butter. Yeah, this TikTok over on the side maybe once in a while. But they're, for the most part, not letting you in the way that the women's side of the market is, which I think, one, it's just natural to female athletes to want to open their,
And women, like, sadly, people pleasing. We want our fans and people who reach out.
Else.
Yeah.
But when I played, I was one of the first athletes on Twitter. Here's the one I'm eating. It was like really interesting. I mean, people really care about this stuff. But before that, no one knew about me unless someone wrote an article or I got that one spot, Athletes today can go direct to consumer, and I think they are empowered to talk to the fan. They're authentic. It's like technology's actually changed the game for sports and for women's sports, especially NIL. Female athletes are leaning in. I think that's why we're all here today. We're like, what is happening in this market? And women are at the forefront of it.
Okay, so we only have about 5 minutes left. I want, Angela, for you to say some of the things that brands are doing wrong in this space that they could do better.
using old, outdated models. The sports industry has changed. I would say don't shrink it and pink it, lift it and shift it, shrink it and pink it, and be like, oh, we do this on the men's side, let's do it over here. Approach this market with a huge opportunity. Do it differently. Think of it differently. Again, why our audience data is like, no, there's a market here. You just have to see it, and you have to think differently. So don't just copy what's been done in the past, because even on the men's side of the market, it's fragmented, it's changing, it's been disrupted.
We've seen a lot of brands do that, where they just take the same ad, they put it in the women's space, they go, it didn't work. And it's like, well, you did all the research on the demos and the people in the first one, and the second one, you didn't do any of that. And also execution after the activation, right? Once you invest, first research, then invest, and then follow up and continue your investment, because a lot of times there isn't any follow up, and then when it doesn't work, they blame the product that they're investing in instead of the way that they interacted with it. So it's really huge to have that continued investment and activation after that initial partnership. Mallory, what would you like to see from brands, or what have you enjoyed in some of the partnerships you've had?
It's been really cool to share. So like brands that get involved in my program. So I ran my own program last season in the full national circuit, and it was really cool to be able to see all the different brands that wanted to be a part of it and the people, right? So I made a lot of really good relationships with brands and people that wanted to be involved in motorsports and see the back end side of it, right? See the behind the scenes, see all the things that I'm doing on the sides of, like, planning the logistics of people traveling and all the other things, and like, where's the money going and how does the organization work? And I get to bring people into my pit setup, and they get to hang out with motorcycle racers and see all the other racers, like all the pros, the other pros, all the guys that are at the top. And so that's what I really love, is being able to share those experiences with the brands that get involved in my program. And really just like, I had a title sponsor last year. She owns a dealership in Canada, actually. And she doesn't race herself, but she rides, and she loved being a part of it and seeing all the stuff that I'm going through and being a part of the decision making too, of like, hey, like if you invest in my program, let's have a conversation about what this could look like for you as a brand and for me as a racer, right? Because I want to race and I want to engage with fans and all that. But at the same time, like, I also want to make sure that everybody that like partners with me also gets to experience all of this stuff as well.
Mallory's going to put y'all on a hog, and you're going to be riding right alongside.
You're right on the back. I'll let you hang on. And then
Santia, what about you?
I would say definitely invest more and partner with more unrepresented sports, because we do have loyal following. And then also understanding that we understand our audience the best. So letting us be creative. I've been able to build a platform called Winning Her Way, where we empower, amplify, and help female athletes with visibility. I did that because my fans asked. They were like, what's happening in these spaces? I don't hear much about it, but I know you report on women's sports, you understand it, you live it every day, you understand the disparities. So just know, as a brand, like, we know how to make your stuff go. So just trust us. Don't keep us in this little box. Don't say, hey, pose like this, dress like this. No, I know it's gonna get you 1 million followers, because I did it. I've had a brand where I work with, in the first month, I brought in 70K because of my following. So I understand how to get to the viewership, to the bag. I know we like to say. So that's what I feel like brands need to understand. Let us do us. Let us be authentic. Let us be ourselves, and we're gonna get you a lot of following and money. Period.
Mic drop. Her name's right there, so you're ready. Just jot it down, and you're allotting your money today. Angela, the Sports Innovation Lab has the fan project, and actually, if people want some sum up because they don't like to read your podcast, also, you've had Gina on and talked through a lot of the results of both that fan project and the follow-up research. Are there some numbers you want to throw out right now that would completely apply to these women and some of the other women, if you have them off the top of your head or just general, about what because again, I think if you aren't in the current data, you are still bringing antiquated mindsets about women's sports, both as a charity or the size and scope of it, not realizing just how different the space is. I'm looking right over your shoulder at Laura Gentili, who started ESPNW 15 years ago and had to go into rooms where people were like laughing at the idea that we would even care, and we're here right now. It is such a different place, and we need to know those numbers.
Yeah, Laura's a legend. Thank you for starting ESPNW. I think generally speaking, because there's a ton of data, 3 fan project reports. We have another one dropping in July or June. Fans of women's sports, and that's men and women, they buy more. Your point about, like,
bitches be shopping.
They spend. So,
and men who like bitches playing sports.
they spend money. I mean, at the end of the day, we're all here trying to move dollars. Like, they are loyalists, right? They're like, oh wow, you support my leagues, I'm gonna go buy your product. Like, we don't see that on the men's side. That literally happens to the consumer in this market. So they watch longer. We did some analysis on, a WNBA game and an NBA game, and they're watching the full W game, right? So they're watching longer. They're spending more. They're coming back, and so we have this score that's like acquisition and retention of fans. And women are off the charts, right? And so we have the data to show you're going to retain fans, they're going to spend more money, and your lifetime value for these consumers that you're targeting, like, you're hooked. They're going to spend more forever. So we're trying to bring that kind of analytics to the market, just to say, yeah, like, believe me, I want you to invest in me and the league and women's sports because it's the right thing to do. And I'm like, check, yes, it's absolutely the right thing to do. You should be doing it. But you're going to make some money. This is a market. Like, that's what we're trying to do with this opportunity with everyone here, is like, this is a market opportunity that we need help, we need support. And the numbers are there to prove that it's
and your
not
research
charity.
shows that people are behind on it. So unlike men's sports, which has been saturated forever, there are so many open spaces, it is less expensive to get in, and the eyeballs are there. Like, you look at the open rate for things like newsletters and emails, because there's not a million places to get the content you're looking for.
Yeah,
you're going to go to Meg Linehan's podcast if you want to hear about soccer. There aren't 80,000 of them.
Well,
to pick from.
it's hard to be, this is the quote I always say, it's hard to be a women's sports fan because you got to go find the pod, you got to figure out where things are. So then you get this depth of a consumer versus the breadth on the men's side. It's hard not to be a men's sports fan because it's a water cooler talk. It's like pushed in your face. So you get this like shallow consumer on the men's side, but you get this like crazy loyal, like voracious consumer on the women's side. And so again, that's
part of our identity. And that's why we buy the merch and support the people and do all the things. We're out of time. I could listen to you guys forever. Big round of applause for Santia, Mallory, and Angela. Thank you so much. Speaking of badass women, we have a message. Angela, get it together. You're in charge of this whole thing. We have a message from a super badass female athlete who's going to illustrate yet again the power of storytelling and being authentically yourself and letting people in. Here's Naomi Osaka.
Hi, Women's Sport Club NewFront. I'm Naomi Osaka, and I'm very excited to speak to you about Hanakuma. So Hanakuma was created because I've always had a really big imagination. I think we have so many amazing stories in the works, like Oasis, which I'm very excited about because it's about the hardest working people, mothers, and I'm a mother as well, so I'm super excited about that story being told. And I also feel like, as a female athlete and growing up and having so many different amazing role models, I think it's a continuation of encouraging girls and also boys, but yeah, you can do anything like you set your mind to, and we have to have role models to believe that we can achieve anything.
Awesome. Thank you. Thanks, Naomi. Thank you, Sarah, and our amazing panelists. Guys, after this, we are going to hit that marketplace, and these are the partners in the marketplace with our audiences who have specific athlete-driven media for you. They put together packages. You heard about what's in there as well from Hanakuma, Oasis, storytelling. It is in here for you. If you didn't see Naomi back there on the cubes with Dylan, our college cuber, definitely check that out as well. But moving on, we want to talk a little bit. We heard about athletes. Now we want to get a little cultured, because these moments, these earth kind of shattering, ceiling shattering, record breaking moments in women's sports truly do change the entire landscape. And so for that, we want to get a little bit deeper into those stories. And one of the sports that continues to really define culture with some of the best content out there is soccer, or football for our international guests. So with that, we're going to spend a little time talking a little soccer and talking about culture. So we'll get started with that.
Watch me dance, dance the night away.
It should be 2-0.
But you won't see it on my face. Watch me dance, dance the night away. I'll still keep the party running. I want.
Here with us live is soccer freestyle star Laura Biondo doing some tricks in the center aisle.
I stay on the beat, you can count on me. I ain't missing no steps. 'Cause every romance shakes in your bands, don't give a damn. When the night's here, I don't do tears, baby, no chance. I could dance, I could dance, I could dance. Watch me dance, dance the night away. My heart could be burning, but you won't see it on my face. Watch me dance, dance the night away. I'll still keep the party running. I want it out of place. When my heart breaks, when my world shakes, I don't play safe. Don't you know about me? I could dance, I could dance, I could dance. Even when the tears start flowing like diamonds on my face, I still keep the party going. I want here out of place. Yes, I can. Even when the tears start flowing like diamonds on my face, yes, I can. I still keep the party going. I want here out of place. Watch me dance, dance the night away. My heart could be burning, but you won't see it on my face. Watch me dance, dance the night away. I'll still keep the party running. I want it out of place. When my heart breaks.
Thank you, Laura. Now, while we let Laura come take her, catch your breath, relax, we're going to pull out our sage. All right, we have a moment here. That was incredible. Laura is an unbelievable freestyle soccer star, part of Global Street Soccer, who is also a partner in our marketplace. But while we get ready for this next discussion, we're going to have a little fun. Take a look at your chair. Do you have a ribbon around your chair? Who's got ribbons tied around their chair? Anyone? You got one? If you got one, untie it or raise your hand. Let me know you got ribbons. I find our ribbons? No, you guys can't find the ribbons? Well, there are 3. All right, we got a ribbon there, we got a ribbon there. Awesome. All right, so after today, if you've got those ribbons around your seats, we have some awesome giveaways for you. One, if you got the purple ribbon, you're getting a pair of Moolah kicks from Natalie White. Forbes 30 Under 30 built this amazing company designing the only basketball shoes specifically designed for women's feet. Who would have thought of that? We have different feet. Wow. So she's got an incredible company. You can find them at Dick's. It's absolutely exploding. You're getting your own Moolah kicks. And then for our other 2 ribbon holders, you are getting autographed soccer balls from 2 of our panelists, Lauren Biondo and Tobin Heath. So let me go ahead and introduce our moderator for our next panel, all about a little bit about soccer, a little about culture. Welcome to the stage, Meg Linehan, senior writer for The Athletic, covering U.S. women's national soccer team, has hosted an amazing podcast. Come on up here, Meg. She's going to bring us through getting us cultured around soccer.
I know, I got to follow Spain as a moderator. It's terrible. This is awful. She's got no cards. I got my phone like a real pro. Let's bring the rest of the panel up. Please take your assigned seats. It's very important. Sit under your name. Tobin, go away. Are you breathing? Are you have you got your air now? Okay. I'm good. All right, let's do some quick intros. Again, we have to be mindful of time. 18 minutes on the clock. Let's go. Laura, succinct. Who are you? Who are you?
Yeah, Laura Biondo, originally from Venezuela, living right now in Miami. Yeah, been freestyling for 17 years. To make it short, well, I started playing soccer, moved to Italy, played professional in Italy, discovered freestyle, watched some of her videos and learned tricks from her videos, actually. And 15 Guinness World Record, world champion, Latin American champion, and former Cirque du Soleil artist.
Becca. How many Guinness World Records do you have?
Yeah, 0. And you'll note they didn't mention my name as being one of the autographs on the 2 giveaway balls. Executive Director of the U.S. Women's National Team PA. I was a lead negotiator along with Tobin and some of her teammates for the equal pay deal that Tobin and everybody deserve.
Tobin Heath, I feel super humbled and honored to be here. These people I know very well. Laura, we just met, but first off, what she just did is like so difficult. Like there's few people in the world that can do what she just did. So the fact that you all just got to see that in person is incredible. And I just want to shout out Becca. She is like such a huge inspiration of mine. She really was a force for our pay equity lawsuit. Like there's a lot of people that kind of about behind that, but Becca was a huge part of that. So she always kind of undersells. So if you want to know anyone, Becca Rue. Yep. And Meg Linehan, if you followed any of her work, she's a fucking rock star and a huge, when nobody was covering women's sports, when I say nobody, when we would finish games and literally there would be a taped section like where you would have to walk for media, it was Meg. Now it's a lot different, but like these are OGs of OGs, and the panel before like is putting in the work, and I'm just super humbled to be here.
All right, but Tobin, what do you do?
Oh yeah, what I do? I do, who cares? I'm known for the soccer, longtime member of the U.S. Women's National Team, a part of 2 World Cups, some Olympics, all that kind of stuff. I'm now co-founder, co-CEO of Re-Inc. I think we'll do a little video.
Got a video?
Talk about it a bit.
I'm Tobin Heath, 2-time World Cup winner.
And I'm Kristen Press, 2-time World Cup winner.
And this is the Recap Show. The Recap Show will bring you gal culture at its finest. We all know what bro culture is, but what is gal culture? We're here to define it.
What has been the most unexpected part of filming the Recap Show?
Probably how funny you are.
Oh, thank you.
This is the tea.
Jill's bringing the tea.
We would be like, I'm gonna hold the jacuzzi story.
No jacuzzi story. Sorry.
Oh, we're so fun, clearly.
You're gonna find the Recap Show everywhere. YouTube, TikTok, Twitter,
Instagram,
Threads,
and wherever you get your podcasts.
Welcome to the Recap.
Welcome to the show.
All right, so we are the 4 most cultured people in this room, so let's talk about culture. Tobin, I want to start with you because I think storytelling is such a big part of it, and I do want to talk about this always-on concept, but first I want to start with just your approach to storytelling, because I think about even, I get weekly emails from Re-Inc. being like, here's how you're watching the NWSL this week, right? So we have to balance that very logistical, basic stuff with the bigger swing storytelling. So when you're thinking about this now as a former player, what has your approach been?
Yeah, I think the approach has been honestly around what we've already talked about, which is the fluid fan. We are hyper focused on this fan, and that's because this fan had to opt in. Like they don't have the luxury of traditional media kind of force feeding them sports. They had to opt in, and what you get is that depth that Angela was talking about with this fan. This fan is crazy digitally native, and that's why the fluid fan is actually the future fan. Where traditional media, I'd say, has failed women's sports, actually social media has lifted them up, and it is why women athletes are very, what I'd say, leading the charge in social media. But really, for what we wanted to do with our media division at Re-Inc. was to reimagine the way women are seen and experienced in sports. And it might sound like, like women's sports, but really, and this kind of came from a frustration of us athletes, is, we would kind of see the media that was describing us, and we were like, that doesn't look anything like us. That's not our culture. And it was a huge frustration. And it's kind of like to the point that when Angela was saying, it's not shrink it and pink it. It's not the same model for men's sports into women's sports. And you miss that authenticity. And Santia actually said it best. She was like, I know my audience super well. women's athletes, they know their audience super well. And we really saw this frustration, and we turned it into an opportunity. And we had this big thing known as the World Cup. I knew it was the first time I wasn't going to be playing in the World Cup for over a decade. And maybe it's just kind of the athlete in me, but I took like a major frustration. And I was like, there's a major opportunity here. And, I had a bunch of folks say, hey, come do our show. And we kind of were talking about this. You were like, well, what was kind of so unique about it was that we decided exactly the creative. We decided what was going to look like, what we were going to wear, what we were going to talk about, who the guests were going to be. Every single decision that went into the show was through our lens of our audience and what we knew was missing in the market. And I mean, you saw the numbers, but we actually we smashed it, absolutely smashed it. And even for, the ambitious folks that are behind Re-Inc. and who started the company, we were even surprised by it. And I think that says a lot. But it just shows the power of authenticity and storytelling from the people that are actually doing the thing.
Yeah, 100%. And I think the other part of it too is that you have World Cup is always going to be a big moment, right? March Madness is always going to be a big moment. But the challenge is being there outside of those moments. So that way when the moment comes, you can actually take advantage of it. And Laura, I want to talk to you about this because you maybe live outside of this ecosystem that we are all kind of trapped in of okay, I've got to go to the Olympics in under 100 days. I got to prep for it, right? You can maybe take advantage of them, but what are you thinking about as you're just kind of living a day to day and being like, I'm here, I'm here, I'm here?
Yes. Well, first of all, thank you for having me. And you might see me up here, but I find myself just like the regular girl that does just regular stuff. Yes, I kick a ball and I do cool tricks, but freestyle is such a new sport that we don't have yet that big platform and that exposure. We still have the same, pressure when you're going to go into competing and whatnot. But I think the most important thing is that there is a story behind all of us, and the way to get that story out is through the media, and that's your people's job, to tell these stories. And the way that what I feel is that when I've opened up about my true traumas, the difficulties, the parts about mental health, when I've really stuck to my values, that's when I think you can really connect to the people. And that's why I think that the most important thing is to what are your values? What is your mission? What do you want to do when you tell these stories and the way you tell those stories? And then listen also to the person who is actually the person that you're portraying. Whether it's in soccer, freestyle, or any other sport, big or small that it is, we all have these stories that connect with others. So I think that even in freestyle, it's still yet very small, and we live a little bit more in the shadows of soccer. Like in any other sport, there is a story. You just have to ask the right questions to get that out of the person, and then you can probably just hit a very, very important jackpot, or if you want to call it that way, into a way how to reach more of those fans and those audience.
Yeah. I mean, there is kind of a rhythm, right, to all of this. And Becca, I know, obviously I spent a lot of late nights reading legal documents on the equal pay fight, right? And then the collective bargaining agreement. I'm probably one of the few human beings that has a printed copy that lives on my desk. It's probably you and me.
That's so cool.
Right? But there are other parts to this culture beyond that kind of fight for recognition. And one of the things that I think about all the time is the Players Ball that the U.S. Women's National Team Players Association operates. And I think sometimes we get trapped in this narrative of oh, women's sports, great cause, whatever it is, and we're starting to get out of that. And the Players Ball, to me, is a great example of something like that.
Should I tell everybody what the Players Ball is first?
Yeah.
Let's start with that. So the Players Ball is really a culmination of a long journey that was both equal pay and playing off of what we're talking about right now, culture, and how much Tobin and her teammates, and really the 99ers when I was 14 and watching them win the World Cup, how much they have really set a lot of culture in my life, and I assume a lot of other people's. And so in 2022, we had just signed the first equal pay CBA in the US. Others done it first, but it was a long journey, multi-decade. And it was what Tobin and her teammates really always deserved. But whenever, even though you should have always had it, like that type of thing deserves a celebration. And we'd always done a end of year party. It was private, it was quiet, and it was just really for the players. We're like, what if we make it big? And we do a red carpet. It's in New York, and we invite any player who ever wore the crest for the U.S. Women's National Team and U.S. Soccer and Cindy Parlacone and our friends now there at U.S. Soccer, but also try to get brands and a lot of media there and maybe have a surprise music performance. And it was really like also, we work for the players, we work for the collective, and we wanted to feature them and give them a moment and walk red carpet, because women's athletes, you guys don't have that opportunity that often when you're playing. And so this is a way that we wanted to show them and really celebrate them. And we're now making it an annual thing. We want everybody here to want to come. We want every player. Shout out to TP, our host last year. But that is something that we are building, and it really is not just a culmination of equal pay. It's also what, Angela, you were talking about. It was also demonstrating that this is an undervalued asset, and that's what Tobin and her teammates always said. They were betting on themselves, and we were giving rights away to U.S. Soccer, and they weren't monetizing them. And so a lot of what we've done is said, well, let us take that back. And even in our current deal, it is a very unique thing for players' associations to be so commercially active, but we always knew that they were still being undervalued. So we're going to sell some of our rights to U.S. Soccer, but we're also going to retain the ability to go monetize, and we're going to show you that the market still wants to bear more investment that you ever really believed or could have imagined. And then we also shown to those brand partners that have come in with us that there's real returns. And so that is a long-winded way of saying the Players Ball is a culmination of those two things, and then it's really just a big fun party. What do you think, Tobin?
It's the best, and honestly, we are great at celebrating.
It's true.
We are great at celebrating, but I think it's really important to celebrate women's athletes, not just like when they're on the field winning, but like off the field as well, and it's a really powerful moment. I remember telling Becca that there were like a number of players that were retiring that, to U.S. Soccer standards, they didn't deserve the, walk out on the field. And I was like, that's so insane. These people have literally been on the team for over 10 years, and we're not going to celebrate them. And I remember telling Becca, like, we're going to celebrate them. If they're not, we're going to celebrate them. And I think for the Players Ball, like, it should be the biggest celebration of women's sports every single year.
And we hope that's what it becomes. Shout out to Laura and what they've done with the W and ESPYs. Like, we want this to be the ESPYs of women's sports. Men's athletes are welcome to come celebrate with us too, but it is meant to be a safe space for celebration and connections to occur. And in the first year, came out of nowhere. We had 213 million media impressions, largely probably watching the Rose Lavelle karaoke Celine concert, but it showed that there's fans, and fans were like, we want to broadcast this. We want to watch it. If we do that, it'll be a very small corner of the room that gets broadcast, and probably just the awards. But that is what this union is hard at work, and it's largely in service of our members and celebrating them, and also everybody in this room and a lot of the OGs that have done the work for a long time and believed for a long time.
Yeah. All right. I want to talk about kind of the changing nature of the space that we've been in. I think everybody up on this panel has been around for a while and has seen, 5 years ago even, we're probably not in a room like this. I used to watch U.S. Women's National Team games at Algarve Cup on pay-per-view. Wow. They were filmed on a potato, right? The access now is bigger than ever. It's video games, it's freestyle coming into the space. So I think we've got about 4 minutes left, so I think it's a good chance for everybody to kind of go down the line and say, like, what are you most excited about as this culture changes? Laura, we can start with you.
Definitely the impact that we can have in society, especially in the youth. And I'm a big advocate, always been super big advocate for equality, and always pushed for the women to have their space and freestyle. When I started, I competed with the boys. I had to fight for women's competition, and to see these things happen, like to see, even to just be up here right now, it's like, and be next to like these amazing people, Tobin, that I learned freestyle tricks watching her videos. I just see it as my young self looking at these things and think about all those young girls that are going to see all the things that come out through the media and how everything is changing, how inspiring we can be. There was a commercial during Super Bowl that it was from Dove that said that 42% of girls quit sports at 14 because of like that self-confidence. And so the impact that we have in the youth and how that is also going to influence society, I think that's the most exciting part for me. And that's what I also want to bring to the table through freestyle, is that we can really help these young girls to become the future of sports, but also society, just by how we tell the story.
Amazing. Becca? No?
I'm excited that there is a room like this. Maybe 5 years ago we had some more advancement than the potato camera for just the Algarve, but it has been so humbling in a lot of ways to be part of this and then see so much new energy coming in. Sometimes it's been exhausting, right? So like it is really inspiring to see this many people this excited about women's sports. We've had many moments. Like what we need is a sustained scale that is growing all the time, and that takes investment. And so those of you that have pocketbooks, please write big checks, because we want to prove out the ROI and that there is the opportunity here, but you can't go small. You have to go big. You really have to just go all in, and that's kind of what I really admired Tobin and her teammates. They always have done that. They're like, you guys could have never sued your federation, which was pretty brave, and they just went all in, and it has come out on the other side, I think, for them, but also for a lot of society to have been a really good choice. So I am excited for the continued investment and would just ask, write the big checks.
Yeah, let's stay always on. What we did with the recap show, that's just us at Remedia scratching the surface of, honestly, a full development slate of content that we're just chomping at the bit to get into market with. We have a big thing called the Olympics this summer. It's right around the corner. The women athlete are going to be the top stories this Olympics. It's huge between soccer, basketball, gymnastics, track and field. They're the biggest stories, and it's very exciting. But what I would say is the next World Cup, I'll call it the World Cup, but it's the year that the women play the World Cup, is 2027. This is a huge temple moment. I mean, we're talking about 2 billion people watch the finals, compared to the Super Bowl, 200 million people. That's a big difference. It's a global event. And I would say from now until then, can we commit to a sustained approach around putting dollars into this space? There is so much out there to invest in. We have 4 packages here today. I think there's some QR code or something. But the type of storytelling that we are just amped to tell is important. Women's sports inherently carries progress and equity. And there's no kind of stories. If we diminish kind of what brings women's sports like the greatest value, which is everything kind of around it, it's such a powerful vehicle. And we're excited to tell the stories and to just continue the always-on approach of women's sports. And we can't do it without folks like yourself. We absolutely can't do it. So your investment truly matters to this mission, but also it's just really good content.
Perfect ending. But you should be thinking about the 2027 World Cup right now. Like that is
right
true.
now. Yeah, that's what's happening. It's like we have to get further in our thinking right now into what we're putting money in, because it's like we don't even know where the 2027 World Cup is right now.
We'll know in like a few days.
Which is insane because we've known where the men's World Cup is going to be for years. Yep. So it's like, how do you even invest in something when you don't even know where it's going to be? And that's where women's sports is right now. And that's why we have to get out in front of it. It's not just about the Olympics this year. It's about what are we doing in the next 2 years? Because the next 2 years will be so much better if we start thinking about it now.
All right. Tobin will be over on the side if you want to let her go. Thank you, everyone.
That was awesome. Thank you, guys. So listen, you heard it. The QR code. It is on your seat. Recap. Global Street Soccer Games, Players Ball, those packages are in the marketplace for you guys to go by, to use Sports Innovation Lab audiences, to extend the reach even more, although for something like the World Cup, 2 billion, there's no more excuses. So these are some of the other amazing partnerships. World Surf League, Together, Hang, Club Shay Shay. We have some amazing packages to bring the content and the culture and the storytelling. Well, we're coming around the bend. we've got one more panel for you, but we wanted to shake it up a little bit more. We're getting a little local. We're going a little grassroots. We're going to talk about team sponsorships, grassroots sponsorships, empowering young girls. And to do that, we have a very special moderator. So I'm going to go ahead and roll a little video before I bring her up on stage.
Our first guest is a sports reporter who is just 11 years old from New York. Please welcome Pepper Pursley. I mean, how awesome is that? What a highlight. We're welcoming in 11-year-old sports reporter Pepper Pursley. Pepper, thank you so much for joining us. That was awesome. Introduce yourself.
I'm from New York, and I love basketball.
Show me your skill.
It's simple, but then we got the top underneath, a little flashy, you know. Do you like it? Yeah. Do I have your approval? We got the sunglasses. Me and you, we're 20 with the sunglasses.
How are you feeling in this moment about to be drafted into the WNBA? What does it mean to you to just be a part of this generation of women's basketball that's grown the game so much and inspires girls like me? I just talked to Nika, and she was amazing. What does it mean to kind of be here with her and be able to experience this with one of your teammates? I love that. Thank you so much. Have a great night. So good to see you.
Awesome. Please welcome to the stage Pepper Pursley, reporter, journalist, and host of Dish with Pepper. And also, I would like to welcome to the stage Pepper's panelist, Sandra L. Richards, Managing Director, Head of Global Sports and Entertainment and Segment Sales and Engagement for Morgan Stanley Wealth Management. Come on up, Sandra, take a seat. And center and forward, 10-year WNBA veteran, creator of the hilarious TP and Sid and TP show, Teresa Plaisance. Pepper, take it away.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, that was awesome. I was just at the WNBA draft, which was so fun to be able to talk to those athletes in that moment. And I have to start, before I get into the questions, which I have so many for you too. Watching how much women's sports, and especially women's basketball, has grown has been really excited, especially going into my 5th season covering the WNBA, so I'm really excited about that. And I am 13 years old, so I'm a little young for this, but I'm really excited to kind of see how much women's sports has grown and to be riding that wave, especially as a young athlete as well. So I'm really excited to be here and to share these two and their amazing stories as well.
Awesome, Pepper. We can't wait to work with you again.
All right, so first I just want to hear, given how much women's sports has grown for both of you, what it might have meant if you were my age to see how much access you have to women's basketball now, even though it should still be more.
When I was your age, I'm from New Orleans, Louisiana, a small city with big city energy. We love people, we love camaraderie, we love to celebrate just because it's any random Tuesday, especially one specific Tuesday, if you're picking up what I'm putting down here. So when I was growing up, there was no WNBA team remotely close to me. The closest team would be Houston or maybe Atlanta. And so my mom as a basketball coach, my biggest stage that I got to see was my mom coach at Loyola University of New Orleans. And I thought it was the finals, the WNBA finals every single day. I watched her NAIA players play like it was the Diana Taurasi's and the Sue Birds of the game, and to be able to grow and see how much the game is growing and how accessible it is to people like you, to the younger generations of the world. When you had women playing in the league then when I was your age that were paving the way for me, and now I'm in the position that we're paving the way for the younger generation. But having the accessibility and being able to see somebody that looks like you be successful in sport is something that I didn't have. So I think it's a very special time for women's sports right now.
I love that, and my mom is my softball coach too, so I love that. Having your mom as your coach is definitely a special experience. Sandra, anything to add?
Well, first of all, I'm so honored to be sitting with you. I follow you on Instagram, and I'm quite sure you're going to get a whole bunch more followers today. So look, I think when I was your age, you said you was 13? I wasn't doing what you was doing at 13. But I was playing ball. I'm from New York, so you gotta love New York ball. And I just had a love for the game, and I'm just really excited for what these young people now can see, that this is going to be normal. This is not something that you're aspiring to see or hoping to see one day. This is normalcy today. And that's pretty exciting. And, seeing people like you and so I thought we was going to match our outfits today.
We were going to coordinate.
We were going to coordinate, but we didn't. But I did wear my Nikes, though.
You were on it.
Yeah, I got those. And I heard Caitlin got a deal. I ain't got no deal, though.
All right, I'm so excited to be here with you two. First question I want to ask you is, TP, about the Sid and TP show, what it was like hosting, what it's been like hosting, and how you hope to partner with brands to make it even bigger and even more accessible.
So special shout out to Together and Maximum Effort for creating and coming up with the Sid and TP show. I know that my name is super recognizable. And that's because I have played over a decade in the WNBA. Right, okay, right. Humbly said as well. I've always been like a role player and the type of person that had like locker room humor. And while like basketball is one piece of it, there's a piece of women's sports that I think that women just carry, and that's like a level of professionalism, a level of grit, a level of being a chameleon and just figuring out what you need to do to work in the space that you're in. And that's kind of what my career was. I was a starter for a few years, but most of the time I was a role player coming off the bench, and my niche was just having a relationship with every single person on my team and kind of being the glue. With that being said, in 2022, before our championship run with the Aces, I met Sydney Colson in training camp, and unfortunately for our teammates, it was going to be a long year for them because we were just complete pranksters. And that ended up turning into a show, and I was completely terrified. I never did TV before. My humor is for locker room spaces only. And so this was an opportunity for me to put myself out there and get into a world that, when basketball stops, I'm going to have to do something else one day. I don't fall back on, my huge WNBA salary, and I can just like lay in my big WNBA house and think like, throw my WNBA hundreds around and whatever rich people do. I have to find a new profession, and I thought maybe this could be a segue into that. So I was given a TV show. They just handed it to us. They're like, you don't want to meet us first or like get to know us. We did it, and it was absolutely terrifying. I never thought I would be in front of the camera, and also doing that kind of sketch comedy, it was a lot of fun, but it felt very natural. And being able to work with partners like Together and Maximum Effort, and being able to tap into another space that is not basketball was actually extremely special, and we had a really great product to come out of it, and it was one of the best times of my entire life.
I love that. And if anybody in here hasn't watched, please do, because honestly, you'll just be laughing and laughing. It's the best. I want to ask you about this upcoming WNBA season. I mean, it seems like there's so much excitement around the season from all different levels for all different teams, especially because of the influx of rookie talent. So what kind of message do you want to send to everybody here about how exciting the season is going to be?
I think that, for all of us that have been around women's sports for a while, we've always known that the product was there. We, as women athletes, walk around with a chip on our shoulder. We're going to figure it out. We're going to do it because we can and we will. And, now is amazing for women's sports. Women are cool. Like, we've been knowing that, but like, women are cool. And now everybody's getting the word. Word is spreading quickly that women are cool. So we're like in this place where like the Caitlin Clark effect is taking over and the Angel Reese effect is taking over. And you're seeing these notable college kids taking their talents to the W. And from an outside perspective and someone who's in the WNBA, I'm just like, don't do it. You're going to take a pay cut. Get that NIL money. And here we are, and they're taking their talents to the next level, and they're turning the game around. They're carrying not only the sport of women's basketball, the league of the W, but they're carrying women's sport generally on their back and showcasing it with such professionalism and poise, and also with a very genuine, authentic nature about themselves. So I think that, you know, the fire's getting hot. Everybody wants to know about the Caitlin Clarks and the Angel Reeses, but, you know, the product's been there, and it's going to be a really, really exciting year for the W. Extremely competitive. So get your tickets now. They're hot.
Absolutely. All right, and some questions for Sandra. First off, just explain a little bit about your role for Morgan Stanley and what motivates the company to invest in women's sports, especially at a local and grassroots level.
So we're actually celebrating the 10-year anniversary of our business being established at Morgan Stanley, focusing on sports and entertainment and the client segment of athletes, entertainers, and social media influencers and the like. And so my role is to work with our 300 financial advisors across the country, giving them access and opportunity to not only engage the current clients that they have in this space, but also creating opportunities for us to either find and acquire additional clients. And so it's not just the main, you know, doing your brand ad and all of that stuff, but how do we engage? And so women's sports has been a really great way for us to do engagement. You could do client events about the markets and CDs and interest rates. You could hear all that. But my thing is, what else can you do that a client cannot get someplace else? How do you create those experiences? So we do things from supporting the U.S. Open. We've done quite a bit. We actually sponsored the WNBA, PAs, All-Star Brunch. I mean, we've done quite a bit. We launched something, I know Parity is in the house. We actually did something with Parity when we launched our Money in the Making platform with our new E-Trade partners focused on the financial education. So what we try to do is try to figure out how can we overlay the focus on women's sports for us and engage our clients in that space. And it's been really, really successful for us. And even personally, when you talk about, you know, the WNBA, I make sure I give the merch to people for Christmas and for holidays, including my mailman, who I adore. He makes sure all my Amazon boxes are hidden when I'm not supposed to be ordering stuff. And I went to the NBA store and I said, oh, I gotta get him something. Mind you, I don't even know his name, but I just know he's my dude. And so I got him a WNBA, the orange one. Yeah. When I tell you, he actually put it on over his uniform. He wasn't supposed to do that. He actually put on, he was like, yo, I'm gonna use this for my whole route. I'm gonna use this for my whole route. And he was so excited. And so my thing is like, the role that I could play, not only at work, but personally, how can I also play the role to make sure that we're engaging and supporting women's sports?
And thank you for sharing that story. It just goes to show that women's sports fans are everywhere, and they're all so excited about women's sports.
Give your mailman a sweatshirt.
Exactly. Give the people in your lives WNBA merch. Tell them to buy tickets, tell them to watch games, all of it, because it's so important. Okay, this question is for both of you, and it comes from me and my generation. How important is it for girls to be able to see advertisements for women's sports and female athletes?
From an athlete's perspective, I think it's incredibly important. You know, growing up, I was just speaking to Brittany earlier about this. One of my favorite episodes on TV was on the Martin Show when we had, 3-on-3. Does anybody remember this? Yeah. With Coach Staley? Yeah. Yeah, it was a really great episode. And I was like, we need to get back to those days where we put notable women on TV that I watched TV and I was like, when I grow up, I want to be Lisa Leslie. I want to be in her shoes. And, for a while, you didn't see anyone that looked like me. I didn't know I could do it. I actually wanted to be an NFL quarterback as a child. I wanted to grow up and I wanted to be the quarterback for the Saints. It didn't work out. I did have the height for it, but I did not have the pure man sweat going on. So basketball was cool, right? But having this day and age where you see Caitlin Clark commercials all the time, you see Jewel Lloyd And you see people like being funny in these commercials. They're not just like, hey, buy this product, it's cool. They're like, hey, yeah, what's the sitch? And you see people showing their personalities, and you understand the human being behind the athlete. And I think, especially with marketing and advertisement, relatability is key. And to be able to see somebody that you can relate to on multiple different levels, whether it's a sport level or just like product loyalty or whatever that looks like, relatability is key. And so for the younger generation, I think it's extremely important to have all these faces of the W and of women's soccer and women's hockey just making massive movements to showcase the amazing and incredible women that we have within our leagues.
And the relatability part is so important. I know, I'm not sure if many of you know that Layla Fernandez is a brand ambassador for Morgan Stanley and has been for a couple of years. I know that somebody from our firm-wide marketing team is here, and it's been really exciting. And one of the commercials that they did was actually a young girl playing against Layla. And so it was heartwarming to see that, the firm looked at how can we take this and make sure that we're getting to that next generation? Because at the end of the day, that next generation is also going to be our client. That next generation is our client. And so how do we do things that's important to those that we're serving and also to those that where we live, eat, and breathe? And look, you cannot separate out women's sports from any other properties that you're supporting and the like. It is really important. And so for us, it has been really exciting. We have Layla Fernandez, we have Cheyenne Woods. I'm quite sure there's some others we're working on that I wish I could say, but I can't. But it's a lot, and it's a lot of fun to see it.
Thank you both for your perspectives on that. And kind of to give a kid perspective, I think you talked about the fluid fan, and I feel like that's me and my generation. I mean, I'm scrolling and I see these female athletes on my feed, which I'm sure you all can figure out why, but I hope that for everybody. And I play basketball, and it's my favorite sport to play. And over the last couple of years, I've seen so many more of my teammates and friends know about women's sports. And when I started playing AAU, I think when I was 10, I mean, I would wear whatever shirt. Sabrina Ionescu, Kelsey Plum, those are my favorite college players around that time, and nobody really knew who they were. And there were more Steph Curry jerseys because I love Steph, but girls should be able to wear and support and know about female athletes. And going to school a couple of days after the WNBA draft and getting asked, did you talk to this person? Did you talk to Caitlin Clark? Did you talk to Angel Reese? That kind of growth, seeing it come to my generation has meant a lot and meant so much to me, and so I'm really excited to see how that can continue to move forward, because girls and boys my age all are really excited about women's sports as well. So advertise for us too, because I think that's really, really important. All right, I see that okay, thank you.
Pepper, I also need to know who is managing your calendar. Because I can't manage mine. You just said AAU, the draft, school, I'm playing ball, I'm doing this, I'm shopping. Who is doing that for you?
Well, my parents help me, and they do a great job of that. Yeah, but I am heading right to school after this. I have a history quiz, so.
Are you ready for it?
Yes,
Okay,
I've been studying, yeah, definitely. All right, with our last minute and 15 seconds, what message do you want to leave our audience with today to kind of share how important it is to advertise for the athletes and the teams and all of women's sports and women's basketball?
My message that I want to leave with is just that women's sports are the most accessible and relatable athletes that you'll be able to find yourselves around. We don't have a posse of security making sure that no one approaches us. If you go to a W game, I guarantee you, if you say hi to any player on the court, there's a very high % chance that they will speak back. And the relatability there is incredible. So invest in women. Push the needle forward. We just need somebody to step outside of the cookie cutter box that we've been in for marketing and advertisement for years. And it's the people that are doing something different that are really making an impact, and it's special, and then the time is now.
So I think that for the people in here, certainly you have a passion for it, but it's also how do you try to immerse other people into the experience? So yes, for the media advertising, but certainly get to a game. talk to TP, go watch her YouTube. I mean, to me, it's just like data is certainly great, but how do you apply the data? But also, how do you just get yourself immersed in the space? And so that, to me, that's, again, I got to find something else to buy my mailman this year, but I'm trying to make sure for me it's even those around me. It's more than just my job. And I think that when people look at it beyond that, like how much of an impact that you're making by the decisions that you're going to make today is not just about what the television and you're helping the streaming and all that other stuff, but you're helping the next Peppers. You're helping the next generation. And I think that if we look at it beyond just a job, I think we will also make an impact and take the passion and just spread the love and have fun. I'm coming to a game.
Can't wait to see you.
Yeah.
We'll match that day.
I don't think we can match.
I mean, I think the reason women's basketball has been so accessible to me in the media circle is just because the athletes want to share their stories and they want to be highlighted in the right ways. And that's something that I've been able to do because I think my perspective is not one that everybody has, obviously. And because I'm so inspired by those athletes, I'm able to ask them the right questions and ask them questions that are for people my age and for my generation and for kids. And I think that's something about women's basketball and women's sports in general that's really important, is the fact that the athletes, they want to share their stories. They want to inspire kids like me. So that's, with all of what we've said today, I think that's what we're going to leave you with. And thank you all for listening.
Thank you.
Great job, Pepper.
Thank you. Thank you.
That was incredible. Thank you, guys. Thank you so much, my panelists. You guys were awesome. Thank you. Thank you. You guys, give it up for Pepper. If you want to sponsor Pepper, buy media around Pepper, our partners at Impact Partners have an amazing package in the marketplace. Sandra needs something for her mailman. Get that Together sweatshirt, the Everyone Watches Women's Sports Together sweatshirt, where you can also sponsor and buy media all around the Sid and TP show. So we've got some amazing grassroots. Pow Her is a tour reaching young girls to keep them in sports. We have the packages for you in the marketplace. So we're coming around the bend here, we're wrapping up, but before we do, I am thrilled to bring on stage founder of Trailblazing Sports Group, the company behind our Trailblazing Marketplace, Sarah Godfredson. Come on up here, Sarah.
Thanks, Gina. Give it up for Gina. How great has she been today, I think. All right, well, we just talked about community. The most important piece of community in women's sports is local teams, NWSL teams, WNBA teams, PWHL teams. And so today we are so proud to announce a trailblazing partnership with one of our partners in the marketplace, Tradable Bits, which is a fan engagement company who's been in the business for decades, working with hundreds of men's professional teams. But today we are announcing that they have an opportunity for brands to work across leagues, across multiple teams in a digital-first way. So take a look. Exciting, right? Whole new way to work with local teams. So today we have talked a lot about team partnerships, athlete-driven partnerships by these badass women on the stage, by women like Naomi Osaka, who is an entrepreneur and playing tennis in Madrid and takes the time out of her day to talk to us here. We're talking about story-driven partnerships. We're talking about comedic partnerships with Sid and TP and how you can align with them. We're talking about social-driven partnerships with Gen Z and alpha athletes that are literally going to be doing a 900 at X Games in the next year or two, that are surfing Pipeline in their 20s, that are like going to prom in high school and then playing for our national team. This is the next generation of female athletes, and these are the stories and the moments that are fueling the growth in women's sports, flat out. And these are the opportunities within the trailblazing marketplace, 100%. We are not here to tell you to buy the trailblazing marketplace and not buy linear women's sports. We need you to continue to invest in linear women's sports. We need you to invest more. We need you to invest in moving games to prime time. We need you to invest in creating new studio shows, to taking Game On and College Game Day, to gymnastics meets, to track meets, to volleyball matches. And we need you to be working with the partners in this room to tell more stories, to create more athlete-driven content, to work with teams and events in your communities in ways you might have not have thought about before today. We have 25 partners in the marketplace, and we're excited to bridge partnerships and to create things with each of them. But the special sauce within the marketplace is the collaboration in which we all are coming together. For the NIL content creator whose expertise is getting and identifying Olympic athletes, college athletes, but they need a media company and a media partner to scale that so we can create that. For the linear media partner who does great live games but maybe doesn't have a digital complement, we can create that all within one package. So, if we have left you with nothing else today, it is that women's sports does not have a supply problem. We do not. What we have is opportunity. We are so excited to capitalize on the opportunity with each of you in this room. So, to really close us out, I'd like to welcome to the stage an original trailblazer, Angela Ruggiero, 4-time Olympic medalist, to leave us with a few parting words.
Thanks, Sarah. Nice. First, your blazer is like the best blazer ever. Sarah, thank you for trailblazing, what you've done, creating this marketplace. You had to have a vision. You went after it. Gina, my CMO, give it up for Gina. Her vision was this event, let's put more content, let's move more dollars. You know, we, at Sports Innovation Lab, as you heard today, we just want to move the market. And there's so many people in this room, Laura Gentili, I'm looking again, so many trailblazers in this room that have done it, that are doing it, that continue to move the market. But there's also people in the room that are here maybe for the first time. Thank you for showing up. Thank you for coming here. Thank you, Cheryl, the IAB, saying, we're going to put women's sports at the forefront of the NewFronts. Come on, where's Cheryl? There we are. There's a huge opportunity here, and if you haven't heard anything today, women's sports of the future, these athletes are amazing. Working in this ecosystem, it's true partnerships, right? It's not the same old. And so there's just a huge opportunity, I feel, hopefully you heard it today, to move the market. And my favorite quote in the world, I use it all the time, Gandhi said, "Be the change you wish to see in this world." And it's rare in your professional lives where you could actually make a difference. And you're not gonna get in trouble because you're gonna get a killer ROI. Can you imagine you can actually make a difference in the lives of Pepper, who's building this amazing audience? You can change the ecosystem of the W and the NWSL. You can put dollars into this marketplace and actually make a difference. So thank you for those that have been doing the work, that are here, continue to do the good fight. And thank you for those that are here for the first time. We need you. We need this ecosystem. You are the future right now. Literally, putting money into this ecosystem, getting it moving, you're gonna make a nice ROI, but you're also gonna move what we believe is the first step in changing that ecosystem, and it's getting media what it needs. So thank you for being here from the bottom of my heart. We're gonna finish with a killer video. Have a great day, and thanks for coming to our NewFront.
You love how I move.
What a platform for women's golf.
Women's sports has arrived, and I'm so excited to be a part of it.
And I can be all the things you told me not to be. When you try to come for me, I keep on flourishing. And he see the universe when I'm the company.
High five to the fucking girl.
Yes, there it is. Oh my goodness.
A 13-year-old in gold medal position at the X Games. What planet are we on?
Y'all, the marketplace is now open. Thank you for joining us today.
Way to go.